Hey guys, welcome back. So the weather is starting to get cool. It's October now. It's time to bring your Nepenthes indoors if you had it outdoors all summer long, enjoying the natural airflow and all kind of stuff outside. But whenever you bring it inside, it's a great time to prune your Nepenthes and kind of get rid of the old growth and help it to basically transition and do better over the winter. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that right now. Okay, so now what's very important to remember about these Nepenthes, they are very, very tropical plants, okay? So it is normal for them to live in a high humid environment such as Indonesia, the Philippines, etc. But as with anything, these plants will have to, start getting some of the leaves will die off. Now, if you look right here, this is where I cut it back last year because these guys will actually become a giant vine and will just grow everywhere. Just like this right here, I had to kind of cut back. I'll get back to more about why and how I did that in a second here. But if you can look, it's natural for these plants, for these new growth will come out of these junctions like this, okay? So these are the new active, healthy growth. You can see how dark green and shiny this is compared to the leaf right next to it. So when you bring your plant in for the winter, what you need to do is kind of just go through and very carefully, I'm just gonna start cutting these leaves off. Now, these leaves are actually quite firm. They're not little flimsy things. They are kind of tough. So that's why I'm using these scissors like this. Okay, they're a little more heavy duty because you don't want to use just run-of-the-mill scissors because it may or may not be making a good flush cut. So again, we're just going to kind of come in here like this. Now I kind of defer to kind of cutting a little bit farther back as opposed to trying to get right up against the stem, because if you look right here, that is another growth that has been activated right there, which will produce more healthy new leaves. So it's pretty obvious right here in this section here. I cut this back last year and this leaf is normal. It's going to die back a little bit, but it's also kind of kept the overall plant much more compact. Okay, so this plant was only about 3 years old. I got it as just a little tiny thing with about 2 or 3 leaves on it. It has gotten massive. So if you want to keep your Nepenthes from getting out of control, do this. And before you ask, these reeds, or whatever this is, I guess it came with the original plant whenever I bought it. And I thought it kind of looks kind of cool. So obviously this is not something I did intentionally. I just kind of roll with it, and it kind of adds a little bit of something else to the plant to kind of make it look interesting. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and cut some more back. Now, if you look in here, like I just mentioned, now this is the stem. Okay, now eventually these will grow long enough that they'll produce flowers on these vines, and this is what's actually gonna climb up, the bushes or the trees, wherever it's living at, and it's gonna go, extend its life that way. However, I don't want this thing to get out of control. So again, pruning this thing back is very important to keeping it from getting just, ridiculously large. So another thing too, with cutting it back like this, it's actually going to help you get water and air circulation into your plant. So this gets very, very crowded in here with this method. So I'm just very carefully, don't need to be in a hurry, take your time, just kind of get to look at all the plant and see, you can take a nice up close look at everything you're doing here. And you'll be able to notice that there are a ton of small pitchers and small leaves that are in here that are just kind of being shaded out. So this is definitely going to open up that overall canopy and expose some of this lower growth to some sunlight and better airflow, as well as helping you get water to this plant. Because I can tell you, this plant does have a lip down at the bottom to you can water from the bottom, it will absorb it up. But when it rains, or if you're just trying to overhead water this thing, guys, with all these extra leaves in the way, you are, it's going to be making a mess, okay? It's very difficult to really get in here to water. So this is really important. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these leaves off right here, and I'll kind of show you how much I have just overall removed from the plant, and kind of show you what it looks like after I do this operation. Okay, so it's a quick break right here. Now look, see these little pitchers that are forming right here off of this new growth right now? So what we're doing is we're giving these guys some room. Now, if you look here, this is a pitcher that never developed, okay? So maybe it started for whatever reason and it did not. But if you look behind it, there's another baby pitcher right here. And this is the Nepenthes alata variety, I believe. It's native to the Philippines. Just some gee whiz information for you guys there if you're wondering. But I would do this the same for any Nepenthes, the pruning, just to kind of keep it compact. So don't be afraid to prune it back, guys. It will come back. Now, if I can kind of rotate this around a little bit, you see this other side here. Now, this is a time when you want to remove any kind of damaged or discolored leaves. And any kind of damaged, diseased leaves are not going to do anything for the plant. It's not providing any kind of benefit. But just what I'd like to recommend is make sure you know what you're cutting with how jumbled up these leaves get. And a lot of things crisscross over itself. So before you, pull the trigger and actually snip the leaf off, make sure you're doing the right thing. Like this here, this is obviously a dead old leaf. You can take this out, okay? But like right here, let me show you this one. See this? Now this is some sun damage. Remember I brought it out and this has kind of got a little sun scald on this leaf early in the spring. This leaf needs to go away because it's not going to really benefit the plant. Pull that away like that. You can already kind of just tell just looking in here how much more open it is. Now, here's a picture right here that couldn't even see. If you look way back in there, a little tiny picture. Yeah, so this is actually getting some light, some air movement, some kind of circulation of the humidity and things like that. It's actually going to get into the center part of the plant here by this pruning operation. So let me go ahead and take some more off and we'll come back and see the check up on some of the progress. Now I know it might seem like we're taking away a lot from this plant, and we really are. But in the wintertime, this plant's not going to get all the additional sunlight and moisture would like it was when it's outside all summer long. So it's natural for these plants to have like the older leaves kind of die away while this new lush growth is coming in. So, it might seem like it's a lot, and it is kind of at first, but trust me guys, you just gotta trust me on this. It's gonna be perfect. Your plant's gonna respond with all this growth. It's just gonna explode. And it's gonna keep this plant very nice and compact without, being able to keep it under control. That's what's important, because space is a premium when you have as many plants as I do. So also keeping it much more compact kind of helps, keeps it more manageable. I don't really need a massive plants really just taking up all my space. And the added benefit of bringing your Nepenthes indoors during the winter time like this is if there are any kind of flies or bugs or something like that, hopefully they find these pitchers, and that's a good way to feed them naturally through whatever. Hopefully you don't have insects in your house, but this is how it is. Everyone gets some flies here and there, and it's just part of living in the all these plants and everything. But like I said, if you don't prune them back, it's just going to get really overgrown, and it's just going to be really difficult to water. And we're getting almost done here, so I'm going to kind of try to speed this up and not talk quite as much, and I'll kind of take you back and show you what it looks like after all the pruning has been accomplished, and what it should look like whenever you do it yourself, so you have something to look as a comparison to. And here's a little stem here. Take that out. So there's quite a bit in here, honestly, guys. But the biggest part, take your time and know what you're cutting, because it's very easy to cut through a active growing vine or a baby pitcher that you couldn't even tell was there because of all the dead or the old, leaves that were falling away. Okay, I'll leave that there. That's kind of, I don't want to try to get in there too much because there are some healthy little baby pitchers in there. I don't want to risk taking them off just now. You can always wait until they get more of the brown and crispy, and be able to take it off then, where it's a little more obvious if you're not totally comfortable. So take that back a little bit more right there. Yeah, I think it's coming along quite good. This one has to go. Like I showed you again, check this out, guys, right here. See this growth tip right here? Okay, you need to make sure you do not cut through that. So take your time, move the plant around if you need to. And don't go so close if you don't feel comfortable. Okay, you can always cut that off later. It'll die back. It's not a big deal. The big deal is here we're just trying to kind of really thin this plant out to give it, you know, it's not trying to keep all these leaves alive through the winter whenever it's going to have less food, less humidity indoors, things like that. So overall, this is going to benefit the plant. And I'll do an update in a couple of months or maybe back in the springtime, and I'll show you just how much new growth has emerged. If you guys are into that, please leave a comment down below that you would be interested in seeing a follow-up video to this sometime after all this new growth has been activated, and just see kind of the progress of this little Nepenthes that I thought I killed it, honestly, this year, guys. I kind of took it out early in the spring. It was nice and warm, but then we had some really cold snap that came through, and it was not doing well. But it has come back and has responded very, very nicely. So I think we're going to go ahead and probably wrap up the pruning here. There's only a couple more leaves I think that are in here. I can probably remove from this angle. I'm going to take this one off too. It's kind of in the way. And this one too. Now if you want to do a little side-by-side comparison, now these leaves are very, very tough, okay? They're not like a philodendron leaf or something like a houseplant type leaf. They're very, very tough and fibrous, but you can kind of tell the difference. This nice fresh growth is smooth, almost. It's like smooth, where this is very leathery and tough. You can see on the back, all this kind of like the virus, whatever it may have gotten over the summertime. It's normal. This growth needs to be removed like we're doing right now. And I promise you guys, just be brave and don't cut through any of the main growing stems. Now, look how much air we have actually brought into this. So this was completely covered up by all the leaves like this. Well, now air is going to get into here, okay? You're going to get moisture, airflow. It's going to get some sunlight in here. So all these inner parts of the plant that were just basically being shaded out now have a chance to grow. And look, there's a little baby picture right here, one down there. All this nice growth is going to just take off now. We've gotten rid of all the old growth that's just past its prime, if you will. So let's go ahead and collect up all the leaves. Just look how much we've taken off. I mean, look at all this right here. All of these leaves were on this plant just a few minutes ago, basically just being in the way. And you can tell some of these are worse than others. This leaf is obviously not contributing anything to the overall growth or health of the plant. So it's good to kind of get rid of this old growth to make room for the new. So hope that helped, guys. I mean, it's not really that difficult. You just got to know what to look for. Hopefully I can show you that through this video. If you're, like what you saw, please give this video a nice thumbs up. And again, if you want to see a follow-up to this video, whenever it's been very much, activated all this new growth. So I mean, this is so cool. There's so many little tiny pictures just popping up everywhere now. I couldn't even see beforehand because all this old growth was in the way. So it's just that easy, guys. Don't be afraid to do it. It's actually really important that you do this in the fall when you bring your plant in. Like I said, for all those reasons. So just like this little picture here, it's going to start putting on some new growth, all this old stuff out of the way. And that is a topic for another day. So I'll show you how to remove old pictures when that day and time comes. But for right now, this picture hasn't even opened up yet as compared to this one right here, which is fully open. So this was already open outdoors. Nice little healthy picture there. So leave that on, okay? And and we'll go ahead and wrap it up right there, guys, before this video gets too long. All right, so thanks for checking out this video, guys. Go prune your Nepenthes. Just go slow, be careful, and it actually will stimulate so much more growth that your plant will be overall better in the long run. So thanks for watching once again, guys, and I'll see you next time here at the Hillside. Bye-bye.